It's been such a strange time, but it's also been a revealing time.
Yeah.
And we are now in this new world of work.
Yes.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
Interesting.
Welcome, and here we are. I'm Musonda.
I'm Micheline.
And I'm a Chieng.
I just want to, ladies, I don't know how you guys are feeling about this, because the unlearning, relearning what has happened. We live in spaces that are, you're at home, having your Zoom call, and then you hear, you're like,
Try to be serious, and then there's this like dodgy noise in the back.
and actually, it's live. Your speaker is on, right?
Yeah.
And people are like, Micheline, are you okay? Working from home.
The
I want to
balance.
hear a little bit about those
The
experiences.
balance is delicate. The balance is delicate.
No, I've got a really good one. Just happened last week.
Tell us.
So I'm having a coaching session with my new client from Swaziland. Lovely lady. So we were in the flow. It's in the evening. It's 6 o'clock. And then I hear, ding!
Oh God.
In your house.
Oh God.
Well, it's in a noise. And then I'm thinking, can't someone just sort out their car? What the hell, you know?
Yeah.
So we're talking, and I figure out, we just have to keep going because time is of the essence. She's a busy woman. I'm a busy woman.
Right.
So we keep going. And the thing continues. And then I see my phone ringing. Of course it was on silent, but it keeps ringing, and it's the security guy, the security gate. And then I send a message saying, in a meeting, can't talk now.
And
then he rings again.
I like the way you're doing this because you're on screen, right?
Because I'm on screen,
So
so
you have
my
your
hand
left
is
hand
here.
now. If you're right-handed,
Yeah.
your left hand is
Multitasking.
fortified.
Yeah. Multitasking, honey, you know how
Yes.
we do. So I send that message again. And then he calls again, and I'm thinking, what part of I'm in a meeting, I
you
can't
not
talk,
understand?
was Greek, So in the end I said, I'm so sorry, the security seems to be calling me. Let me just bear with me 2 seconds, please.
Yes.
We'll just continue after the allocated time.
Yes.
So I pick the phone, and he tells me, madam, and meanwhile, by the way, don't forget there's a ding still going on in the background. He tells me, madam, there seems to be something wrong with your car.
Uh-oh.
I know! Do you know, my alarm, my horn, the hooter, had gone berserk. Listen, I just sold my car that was a lemon that had tortured me for a year and a half.
Oh,
and
wow.
got another car, which has been perfect. I've taken it down to Diani and back.
I mean, I've seen your car. It is quite the car. So why is it
and
making
then there we go.
Kalele
Oh, wow.
for you?
The hooter had gone berserk and was torturing everybody in the neighborhood.
Including thyself. In the middle of coaching.
Including queen coach of coaches.
And
you
I
know?
can just see you like, sorry, whose noise? That noise, Askari?
Oh
Whose
my
noise is
God.
that?
I was so embarrassed. I had to, so I dash, I tell her, please just bear with me 2 minutes. Let me just go to the window and cheep, cheep. So I do that. As I'm walking back to my office, it starts again. Long story short, I had to cut the session short because my car had gone berserk. This is like 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
One neighbor came running thinking, oh my God, what the hell is going on? A guy.
Yeah.
Thank God it was a guy who decided rescue this poor damsel in distress.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you know he had to unplug the cable for the hooter, which he found, because I opened the bonnet. Don't ask me why I was opening it and standing in front of it. Because I mean, what was I gonna do?
I'm
Seriously.
like, you've got some skills.
So,
didn't know.
I can drive the car. Those are the skills, you
Girl,
know.
those nails are not trying to be
Then these nails were
fiddling
not
around.
made for the
Tinkering
hood, under the hood.
Pulling
You know?
cables. That is such
that
oh
was
my
crazy.
goodness. And you, Mish, I mean, you
God.
work mainly from home.
Yeah.
And you've worked
work
from home for quite a long
It's
time.
been a long time. Do you know what? A couple of things. One is just feeling honestly blessed that my work was able to, this is work I do advising growth stage businesses, also a bit of coaching. A lot of this translated nicely in terms of a virtual format.
Right.
But still, so I was beginning to say, let me finish that train of thought, that the luxury of having continued work.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because we're here and there are all these little peculiarities and nuances and so on from work at home. And yet, let's just take a pause to say, I think more than half, a lot of people have lost their jobs.
Yeah.
Either because, the sectors, sort of narrowed down, tourism, the restaurants, for example, airlines, or because being a woman.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a
And
tough
having to
one.
make
It's
that
a tough
decision,
one.
kids have been at home, right?
Yeah.
So I just sit here thinking, okay, I have a job, I have a job, I have a good job, I like my job. And it nicely translated to Zoom. All those crazy Zoom stories, from noises to somebody just walking past you as if, you know, you're like, what are you doing? You know? All of that.
Have you actually seen that little video with the mask?
Which one's that?
Oh my goodness, this one is a funny one. There's a video that went around where a guy, a woman walks past this guy and says, hello, I'm Laura. And she's wearing, she's not wearing the mask. And the guy's like, who are you? And then she puts on the mask and he goes, ah!
Oh my God, that's funny. So like that we know people now.
Well, we just, we're recognizing people differently.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, c'est vraiment, you know what? Absolutely. So I've had all of those,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to think of the thing I want to say about working at home is also around just overwork, right? So so I know
Long
it's gonna sound
hours.
like, so I'm being grateful that I have a job. I'm giggling at some of those interesting nuances that happen. Some of them are quite embarrassing. You're trying to be serious, and then there's calamity around you. But I'm also just recognizing that the hours, the work hours blend into evening,
Yeah.
blend into, I mean, there's a day
Yeah.
I really had a strong word with myself to say, you know what? You've been sitting here and there's adrenaline. There are times I'll sit in my spot and I just won't move. I'll quickly get something from the fridge.
Yeah.
You know, so already my nutrition is not as great because I'm just like quick coffee, quick smoothie, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'm working till, 9,
All
10 p.m.
hours,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I do
That's-
want to recognize that
That-
can't be good.
That brings me into the boundaries issue
Yes.
because
Yeah.
I'm a typical COVID hire. I changed jobs in the
Of
middle
course.
of a pandemic.
I have a question
right?
for you.
Oh my God, I changed jobs in the middle of a pandemic. My children went into virtual learning full on, my 9-year-old and 7-year-old. I've never been overwhelmed. And let me confess, I do not, and I repeat, I do not understand grade 3 mathematics. And I have a whole PhD.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
grade 3
Yeah.
again?
Oh, honey, mathematics of, these balls, this number of balls, and then remove the number of balls. I'm like, I am not.
We're not going there.
I was overwhelmed. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
But I was also very purposeful. And thanks to my real close friends and you guys just setting the boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah.
I set the boundaries very quickly. I have 2 young children and 2 dogs. And I have me to take care of. Because
Yeah.
if I'm not well,
Yeah.
my
Absolutely.
children
Yep.
will suffer. And,
Yep.
and then that also brings me to a space of how do we relearn, unlearn,
Yeah.
and reskill. And I think back to your point, Micheline, about people have lost jobs, and it's terrible. But also people have reinvented themselves.
Absolutely.
And I want to hear from you about this gig economy, this
Yeah.
gigging,
Yeah.
young people just figuring out, even older people. I was talking to a
true,
friend of
that's
mine's
true.
father who's like, I have no idea how to use Zoom. I've now had to figure out how to, the digital whatever,
Yeah.
because his raison d'etre was he's on a flight every other week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's just
Yeah.
pulled away from you suddenly. And so how do you, I know you're
Adjust.
really good at, about the gig economy quite a bit. You're
Yeah.
a constant reinventor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we didn't give some people skills out there.
Yeah. I hate that COVID happened, but I loved how it stretched us into areas we didn't know we could get into.
Okay.
In
And the
terms of just
capabilities that we
exactly,
have,
and you learned new skills because you had no choice. I remember one of the institutions that I've been involved in having to train people on even how to set up a Zoom meeting.
Oh, wow.
Because these are older people, you've got the PAs and the this and the that, and they hadn't a clue.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we make the assumption that everybody
Yeah.
must know, and it's not always the
Yeah.
case.
No.
But beyond even just those more sort of basic fundamental skills that you need now to be able to operate, it forced us to learn new things.
Right.
Because we either had to revisit the possibility of losing our jobs,
Yeah.
or that business as we knew it had to change. So it forced us to learn new skills. And I think that was really, really powerful. And even for
Yes.
organizations, where previously you get work and you're signed on and you get a retainer for X, a year or 2 or 3 years, renewable every year. Suddenly even businesses are doing things differently.
Yeah.
They don't want to commit because it's a lot of money to commit when they don't know what the future holds.
Yes.
Right.
And so when you think about the gig economy, which is really this economy where you get gigs, you get short jobs
Right.
or short
Bite-sized
projects.
pieces of work, yeah?
Exactly. that is a big reality that for many of us who are self-employed, it's the way we work. And I actually love that because it means at any one point in time, I'm working on different projects for shorter periods of time. So it's interesting. But for a lot of young people, that's the employment they've known.
Exactly.
They haven't necessarily known formal.
That. Exactly. You talked about how a young man or woman could be sitting in Nairobi, delivering on something in Malaysia.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I mean, when I look at some of the kinds of work, you know, in terms of like online work, you could be labeling, you know, I don't even know, cats, goats, dogs, whatever, in Bemba, right, online for, I don't know, a new animation video that just, you know, that just happens to need that.
Yes.
How interesting is that?
Absolutely.
Right? You're in Nairobi, right? You just happen to know Bemba, and the video, you're like, if you're curious, you might want to know that it's in Hollywood or it's in Nollywood or whatever.
Yes.
But either way, you're just getting your check. You're getting, you know, your money transfer.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to know the half of it. You just have a bit of probably what's a larger project.
Absolutely.
And that I think is incredible.
It's awesome.
Right?
And that's a gig. So you get 3, 4, 5, 10 gigs, and suddenly you're making a very decent living. Voiceovers,
another one.
Selling stuff online. I mean, you see all these kids who are in the thrift economy. You know, they go, they get secondhand clothes, they wash whatever, and then they arrange them gorgeously and they accessorize them. And you see them selling. They post it and it's gone in 2 seconds.
That is amazing. The makeup artist that was here earlier.
Yes.
She's like, you know, I have a shop, darling. I'm like, oh, are people buying? She's like, you know, you take those secondhand.
Yeah.
Exactly like you're saying, because they're already like, you know, $1 or $2 or $5, right? Yeah. They're quite cheap, but nobody wants to go, not everybody wants to go down into the depths of wherever to pick and sort.
Social distancing, being careful.
So basically, she's done that.
Exactly. And you know how you know they make a lot of money? If you follow any of these young business women, entrepreneurs, and I love them for what they're doing. They're like 23, 26, 28, very young.
Yeah.
They post stuff. First of all, they send you a notification to say, you know, turn on your notifications.
Yes.
They put a post and say, turn on your notifications, new stock coming up, 8 o'clock this evening, don't miss out.
And then they do a little Instagram thingy majig.
Exactly. So they post that on IG and everything. 8 o'clock, they start posting.
Yes.
And literally, if you see anything posted and you check again in 2 minutes flat, it's sold.
It's gone. Really? I mean, I knew
so by the end of that hour,
but I didn't know it was that big.
It is a big deal. I'm telling you.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
How do we rethink these spaces? How can we be more daring, especially women? Because I think we're kind of like deer in flashlights, and we're frazzled, and we're shocked about just navigating the COVID world. And yet, you can find, you know, how do you find that moment of silence to just reflect and say, what else can I do differently? And I think this is where like coaching comes in, or checking in and figuring out that there must be some, because the opportunities are immense, I feel.
They are, and I think, you know, Msonda Acheng, I think that, you know, we talk a lot about supporting each other, being part of a community. So one answer to your question is, just tell people. And I suppose maybe before that, because you said, you know, the moments of reflection, what else are you good at? What could have come naturally? You have a great voice. I need you on that radio show.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a
But quite seriously, we both have
hour.
great voices. So, you know, you could be doing voiceovers, you could be doing somebody's podcast, right? So, but just one, reflecting on those innate skills that you might have, or even passions, and then 2, telling people, spreading the word. 3, being futuristic. I always said, I think I said on a show, and I have to do it, I'm going to take coding. Thinking about the economy, all these apps that are being built. Do you know how much coders make? And they're just probably lying in bed with pajamas, 2 pigtails here, and just, you know, and coding away. Honestly.
But ladies, we could go on and on and on, and I think this is a really important subject matter. We really want to hear from you. We want to hear from you to tell us and share with the world, what did this pandemic or this new way of work do for you? What changed and what exciting developments emerged? I'm afraid this is all we have time for. It's such an amazing topic.
It's so wonderful. I did have one thing I wanted to share.
Share.
You know, you talked about boundaries.
Yes.
And I love that conversation about boundaries, because we know that the day doesn't quite end and we end up working into all hours of the day and night.
Exactly.
One of the things I found that's really helping me It's before I'd work kind of in my general living area because I wanted to just feel free and everything. But I ended up converting a room in my house into an office.
Yes.
And it's at the furthest end of where the space that I live in.
So you walk in and out of the office?
So I walk in and out of the office. So when I need to get on the grind, I'm in the office. And when I stop, I walk out of the office and I know I've stopped. I leave my laptop there and everything. And I thought that, I wanted to share that because...
You didn't take the laptop to bed?
No, sweetie, no.
So we know you.
We know you. We also know that there are people who don't have...
Yeah, it made a world of difference, ladies, honestly. So try that, create that space, the working space.
Even if it's your dining table.
Exactly.
Close it when the flap is down, phone is on airport mode maybe. Yeah. Take time for you.
Exactly. It makes such a big difference.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
We gotta go, but I like that one. You're walking in and out of your office in your own house. That's great. The boundaries are important. Do not forget to
subscribe.
Ta-da!
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.